Perditaswardrobe, right? Perditaswardrobe?
Yeah, so that's actually not my name.
Ah.
My Instagram is Perditaswardrobe.
I was close. I was very close.
Yeah, and that's actually my Etsy shop, which is why the Instagram and the email are that.
Fantastic, sir. Thank you.
Oh wow. Okay, so it just got dark.
Perditas, right? Perditas.
Yeah.
There we go. There we go. I got it.
Yeah. So Perdita from one of the dogs in 101 Dalmatians. She's the female dog.
Ooh.
Yeah, I love the Disney dog. So anyways, and because the first things I made in my shop were almost entirely women's like dresses and things that were like kind of a Disney bounding sort of thing back when it really wasn't as popular. And so I called it Perditaswardrobe, and I've just stuck with that because why not? You know, people know it. And you know, the shop has evolved a little bit, but mostly now I just use my Instagram for cosplay stuff. So but I left it. My first name is actually Nat.
Yeah, that's what it actually says in your Instagram. Like when I do the messages, it says Nat. So I've got the name as Nat. And we've been actually trying to set up this for a minute.
A serious hot minute, yes.
Yes, we've had all types of delays doing this.
Yeah. Oh, apparently Ken's off the phone now.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah. He can't see really well.
Oh, that is nice. That is nice. Jack Skeleton.
It's out from the family photo Christmas shoot this morning.
Sorry, I couldn't.
That's Ken. Of the Ken, Nat, and sometimes Bren, and then Bren's our daughter.
There we go. Ken,
Yeah.
Nat, sometimes the
Yeah,
dog.
Ken, Bren. So when we met you, the first time we met you at the Stan Lee thing that you set up, there you go.
Hello.
Wait,
There we go. Camera angle.
yeah, I think this is okay. So
That works.
yeah, but the first time we met you at the Stan Lee thing, that was 2 years ago.
Yeah.
This month.
Yeah.
This week.
Was
2
it?
years.
Think
Yeah,
so.
I think it's 2 years. Like this week.
Wow.
Was it really?
Ah, yeah.
They're there.
They're
They're there.
time I just happened to be wearing a Miles too.
Right.
Which actually was a last minute thing. I was like, I need a thing for this one because I have a thing for like each episode. I was like,
Oh.
I need a thing. And I just saw Miles and I was like, I got Miles. I got a bow tie. Let's do this. Let's put it together.
Miles with the bow tie and the Christmas sweater. It's just right. It's like Miles was at a thing with his mom and he needed to get across town, so he just slapped on the mask and flipped over to Midtown, popped off the mask, and
Yep.
It's so perfect.
I
You
dig
made a
it.
backstory for it, and that's
right.
I love that. There's a backstory for it now.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, his friend Trayvon is doing a choral concert.
Enough.
Anyway.
That's perfect.
Yeah, because on their dimension there is no COVID.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, they dodged a bullet on that one. Imagine how bad that could have been.
Ah.
Yeah.
All right.
How rough must that reality be?
I wonder, like, would that
it's
affect them?
shoes, trench coat, eating pizza with the pot belly. That
Yeah.
was like the this is where we're headed, man.
Yeah, we're the crying in the shower reality.
I'm wondering, like, would heroes?
Oh my god, that movie's so good.
Okay.
Would they get COVID? Like, would Wolverine and Deadpool get COVID? Or would it just go through the system so fast?
No,
No.
their system heals so
Yeah.
fast it would just boot the infection before it got a chance to get a hold.
Probably wouldn't even be able to give it to anybody else. I mean, because Wolverine's healing
Well,
factor
yeah,
is crazy.
you have to the virus has to take hold and start replicating for you to be shedding it.
Yeah, so they wouldn't even be.
Yeah,
Wow.
so they would not even they could not even be asymptomatic carriers.
Yeah.
They would
Oh.
just
Yeah,
they
that's
would
oh, okay.
kill it right away. I bet Sue Storm has had the bubble up since March. Rita's like, Sue, the lab is the lab is sterile. She's like, nope, no, I'm in the bubble.
I think if Sarah did have a COVID, they'd figure it out like that. They have like the smartest people in that.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, honestly, we have some pretty smart people. I mean, how many vaccines are coming up right now? 3? That fast? That's kind of nutty. I mean,
Yeah.
those are some smart people,
We have
really.
we have the Pfizer, we have the
And there's like
Oxford,
2 more that are
and the yeah.
2 more that are getting close to the ends of their clinical trials.
Yeah.
I mean, that's insane.
And it's brand new vaccine technology, so
Yeah.
it's no longer necessarily like the
This is
flu
probably not where he wanted to
is
go.
always
but-
a killed virus, but
It's where it goes. It's where it goes.
okay. I'm
It should be noted we're both in like non-cosplay life. We're both ists.
Yeah.
So
I know you're in Miles, but if you were Peter, you'd be a biochemist. So
and possibly
This is
working
all-
on it, right?
this would all be appropriate.
That could switch up like at any moment.
That's right.
Might.
Peter's gonna want to hear about this.
Yeah,
Peter's
exactly.
gonna want to discuss this, and so Miles is gonna want to be up to speed on all the COVID details. for that saddest dimension, or for that
I know,
saddest
that's
reality.
Sad reality.
That reality.
The sad reality where we get COVID.
Reality
Yeah.
where they didn't get a hold of COVID right away. Tears.
Yes. Exactly.
How are you?
I'm fine. How are you? I'm trying to wonder how I'm gonna drink.
Apparently, you're crazy and cabin fevered. Apparently.
Yep.
Whee!
And since we didn't start off with your name, I'm guessing I'm gonna have to put your name somewhere in the thing. To like go for it. Like, oh, yep, big thing.
Well,
right.
we can introduce whenever you
So
want.
this is so this is Ken.
Hi, I'm Ken.
Yep.
Hey.
This is Nat.
He already knows that. We already because he was going to mispronounce. Would you
And this is a glue gun.
put my glue gun down? It's hot.
And those are all the major players.
Yeah. Yep. Fun fact about Ken: his parents are actually named Barbie and Ken.
That is true. I
Yes.
am Ken Jr. I am Ken
Oh,
Jr.
my.
And my
His
for-
sister is not named Skipper.
for reals,
Oh,
my
that would have been the best.
names are Ken and Barbie.
Yep.
And they call each other Ken and Barbie.
Oh, that is great.
And now I live near the Malibu Dream House, so it's all coming together.
Yeah, it just all came full circle.
All coming together.
Yep.
I'm still waiting on that pink Corvette though, because that's a sweet ride. Or the pink Jeep.
Yeah. Or the pink
We need a pink man.
The pink what?
the pink spaceship. I'm pretty sure she had a pink rocket somewhere.
I think you're
I
right.
bet she did.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
Well, Barbie's done it all, right? She's been part of NASA. She's been a doctor and a lawyer and
And veterinarian,
all
everything.
the different professions. Yeah. So
I hope she's working.
off the list.
yeah, is Barbie working on COVID? I hope so.
I would imagine she would be.
Yeah.
That's probably her field somewhere.
Yeah.
In there.
Guessing.
One of the
She'd be a great accent to
one
it.
of the Barbies is surely working in a lab somewhere.
So I'm sure you had actual questions as opposed to us just prattling.
As opposed to
on.
us just rambling for
Yeah.
however long.
Well, yeah, I was gonna fit them in there somehow. All right.
He's like, I'm already having nightmares about the edit for this.
No. Never. These edits are never really too bad because
Okay.
I have like the
Well,
first
there's a first time for our so.
the first one I just had to cut out like a few things because
Mhm.
like we went totally off topic and had like nothing to do with anything.
What's that like?
And it was like a really long rant, and I was like, okay, that has no purpose being in there. It has
Oh,
nothing to do with anything. And I
you
was
know what?
like,
Anytime you get deep enough into nerd discussion, you always have a chance that you're going to trigger somebody's, you know, like specific, you know.
Don't mention daylight savings time.
Well, no, I'm talking about like, you know, some peculiar element of like, well, especially with Star Wars, right? Like that's full of landmines that, you know, people can.
like on a rant about like beer, or like COVID or something like that, and it was just like it just
Oh.
went on for like a long time. I was like, okay,
Yeah.
like stuck to topic or something.
Yeah.
Maybe,
That's a little off topic.
Yeah.
Oh,
All right. Let's see. What is your first cosplay? You started in, let's see.
oh,
2015?
see, you
Well, how far back?
You just mentioned Star Wars. So our first real honest to God official cosplay was he did Qui-Gon Jinn and I did Amidala the year the first episode 1 came out. There is a single photo printed because it was taken on film because that movie came out a long time ago and I can't find it anywhere. So there's like no photographic evidence, but he looked so much like Qui-Gon Jinn. He had long hair at the time that went down to his, like, the middle of his back. And he looked so much like Qui-Gon Jinn that people would come up to him and say, what are you going to be for Halloween? Or he got chased out of the theater by a bunch of people that wanted a photo with him. He was in regular.
We saw the movie in the theater,
Yeah.
and there were five buddies that were German tourists, and they had seen the movie, and then they were walking out of the movie, and they're all looking at me. And then we walk past one of the movie posters and they're looking at the movie poster and they're looking at me, and they actually, one of them like got up the nerve to approach me because not only do I have the long hair, I had actually styled it like Qui-Gon Jinn because I was going to see the movie that night, and I was wearing this brown like cowl neck sweater, which was very kind of like metrosexual Jedi, if you will. And
It was.
And why not? If you already look like the character, why not just go that last step?
Yeah, but you wore that sweater everywhere, so that's totally
that's
fair.
also true. So one of them came up and asked if the five of them could get a photo with me with the poster.
And they're like, we know you're not him, but you look so much like him. And
we know you're not him, but
yeah.
you look so much like him.
And
like,
in fact,
I can't say no to that.
I've only ever seen the movie twice because the Qui-Gon death scene bothers me so much because it looked so much like him at the time. And so I'm like, Liam Neeson's eyes are not blue like his, but everything else looks so similar. I'm like, wow, that was really disturbing. And so I've only seen that movie twice, even though I liked it fine. Unlike many people, he liked it too.
Oh yeah.
Qui-Gon, it bothered, that death scene bothers me. And I love Ray Park. Oh my God, I love that guy. We saw him at a con. He's so amazing. So I love watching him in that movie, but that death scene bothers me.
Ray Park is so cool that he was doing an appearance at Phoenix Comic-Con.
Or whatever the hell they were calling it that year.
There was somebody, there was a fan that was so excited that he was there. And this is a fan that like, he's one of the, I don't know if he's with one of the troops, but he's one of those guys that like trains with lightsabers. Mm-hmm. And was asking him some like specific like lightsaber, fight choreography questions. And so Ray actually off the cuff did a brief like sparring scene with
cool.
with this guy just like right there in front of everybody. That's and amazing. It was like, you know, like so many folks that come to a con, you know, they kind of they're trying to maintain their reserve, and you know, well, I'm a performer and I'm not here as a you know, as a dancing monkey, you know, so I will discuss my craft, my very serious craft, but he was actually willing to. I probably made that guy's entire, you know, con.
Dude, it made a lot of people's cons.
Hell, it made my con.
He was
awesome.
Awesome.
You know, that he was willing to do that for a fan, and of course, all of us just loved it. Yeah. You know, because we're all of us are in. So, yeah. But I'm gonna get you some angry comments. So, Qui-Gon Jinn, best Jedi ever.
I like him too. I like Mace Windu, but that's just I love
Well,
Samuel L.
Windu
Jackson.
was pretty cool.
I didn't
Yeah.
most badass Jedi ever. Hard to argue against Mace Windu, but best Jedi ever. I'm gonna go hard Qui-Gon
We're just
Jinn.
biased. We're like Samuel L. Jackson.
You know,
Samuel Jackson.
come at me, bro. All right.
Stop.
I don't
no.
mean that. Please don't come at me.
Yes, we will.
That was our first. That was like our first actual real cosplay. I just wish we had evidence.
So that
And
would be
I think you still have some. You still have the robes, right? Mine is long
Yeah.
gone.
1989?
Yeah.
You still have the
That's
the felt robe that needed no at all.
And then if I can spin off of that, first cosplay that we ever actually did for a competition at a con was the Nightmare.
Oh yeah, that was the very first iteration of Nightmare.
Wasn't it?
Yeah, Jack, Sally, and Mayor.
Yeah,
Yeah, Jack, Sally, and Mayor.
that was before we did Jungle Book, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. So
Yeah. What's that?
And what year would that be?
Ooh,
2015,
16.
16, probably 16.
I think 16.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that would have been at WonderCon for the Masquerade, and
It was the year it was in LA, which
Okay.
I think was
yes.
2016.
I want to say 2016. Yeah. But it was the Nightmare Ball, so it's like Venetian, right?
Yeah, so it was the first. It was really our first iteration of the fancy Jack, Sally, and Mayor.
So like a Venetian
that we now have a large group of
costume ball version of Jack, Sally, and Mayor.
Yeah.
And in this case, Jack was our daughter, so in the big flowing gown.
And boy, has she
and
grown out of that.
I did Mayor, but don't touch your face.
You can touch it at home.
I need my mask back on. So, but that we have always loved Nightmare, and in fact, we just did family photos that a photographer friend of ours took just this morning, doing a whole new version of the Nightmare Before Christmas characters. So,
except for Bryn, who's she's taking a cosplay break. So she took she did a version of one of Marilyn Monster's dresses. So very normal. Very normal.
Sort of a Monsters Nightmare crossover kind of thing. So maybe there's something to that. I mean, doing cosplay can be, especially, pre-COVID, when you're going from con to con to con to con, it can be a bit of a grind. And, maybe, the whole idea is it's supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be challenging. It's supposed to be an artistic endeavor. And maybe there's something to be said, occasionally for, giving yourself the space to take a break.
Exactly. Maybe this COVID was a little good thing because we all got a break for a little bit.
Yeah. Or at least maybe that's one, silver lining of it.
Yeah, one little silver lining, one little plus.
Yeah, I think we all need a little silver lining, right? So,
yeah.
But
oh my gosh, yeah.
But one thing that has been an advantage for us is when we were kind of on that con wheel, we had always
I miss the con wheel. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
My friends.
I do too. We miss you.
Right?
But one thing that we had never managed to have time for was doing photo shoots. And,
that's true.
I think a lot of people who are maybe more combobulated and less out of control.
We work
than
out
us.
of town. We work out of town a lot.
Yeah.
She's a teen. She has a lot of stuff going on. So yeah, we didn't have a lot of time for photo shoots.
So we've actually taken this opportunity because a photo shoot, provided you pick a place that's not hugely populated, is something you can easily do and maintain that social distance, right?
Yeah.
So you make arrangements with a photographer friend, you keep it to just the people in your household. So You
We
know,
haven't done any of our groups or anything,
Yeah.
even though we'd all love to, but we probably won't.
it's either been like
Yeah.
a single person,
Or
a
just
single
the two of
cosplayer,
us.
or just the two of us.
And then this morning, Bryn. Yeah.
Yeah, and then this morning Bryn,
Yeah.
but you know, you make arrangements with a photographer, you know, they're masked, you know, you arrange it someplace that you can like park and then go to the place that you're being photographed,
Yeah.
and you can either mask and then take the mask off right before the photos, or if there's a lot of makeup involved, you arrange
Pick someplace where there's not going to be a lot of people,
Mhm.
which was the plan today. And there were not a lot of people when we showed up.
And then you just keep everything distant.
And then
you know.
traffic started stopping.
Yeah.
So,
Waves, not hugs. Yeah, it's
but we told everyone to stay 12 feet away.
we actually created a little bit of a traffic jam. People were stopping in the street to look at us, and then parking, and then
And then
walking
taking
over.
photos. Yeah.
And so we had, as it worked out, there was like a conveniently located social
Hedge.
distancing hedge.
Yes, there was a hedge.
And so people were
Yay for the hedge.
people were parking themselves at the hedge and kind of
Yeah.
and then getting their photo kind of with us over their shoulder in the
12
background.
feet away. Yeah.
Right. So it's funny how even impromptu. Well, I feel like a lot of cosplayers, you kind of have to figure things out. So I feel like cosplayers that go to cons and have to come up with cosplays and have to figure out how to get around in those. Want to. But I feel like there are a lot of folks that kind of pattern in their lives all the time, and I feel like one of the things that cosplay is great for is teaching you have to adapt. You have to figure out, how do I get that
How
look?
do I get this dragon costume through that electronic?
Which brings me to our next question, actually. What is your most uncomfortable cosplay?
What's our most what?
Uncomfortable cosplay.
Comfortable.
Uncomfortable.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Probably the dragons.
Yeah, but I love wearing the dragons. Oh my god, it's one of my favorites to wear, actually.
Yeah.
But what is our most uncomfortable?
Most uncomfortable. I'm still going. So we do the dragons. We do Drogon, Viserion, and Rhaegal.
The Kentorette is the most uncomfortable.
Oh, you
one.
think?
That's
okay.
It's hard to walk in. It's hard to walk in. I'm trying to figure out how to fix that. But that one's just hard to walk in.
Yeah.
So
now it should be said that when they do the Kentorettes, I do Chernabog,
yeah.
the demon from the the kind of mountain German ghost scene. Night on Bald Mountain from Fantasia. And
it's a little uncomfortable.
When they do the Kentorettes, I do Chernabog, also from Fantasia. And when I showed up in my, what is it? He's like 7 foot tall with a 12-foot wingspan. And
no, he's like 9 feet tall, actually.
Oh, sorry, 9 foot tall with a 12-foot wingspan.
Yeah.
Because it's 14 foot in Drogon, but 12-foot wingspan.
Yeah.
And so I show up in this monstrosity, and security doesn't know what to do with me because they've just instituted like new security measures that involve like metal detectors, and the guys at the gate didn't know what they needed to do with a costume that
so
size.
They stuffed him through the metal detector thing, and he was like,
so I had to fold my wings over across my
and he couldn't walk through because
I had to crouch way down and then hop through the metal detector just to get all of me to fit. And one of the supervisors is off on the side laughing himself hoarse.
Yeah.
And I finally get through, and he's watching like one of his people put me through this, and then they come through, and then the supervisor comes over and says, "Yeah, we could have had him walk around and just wanded him."
Yeah.
Oh, that's all bad. So when you go about that, how do you go about making the wings?
What's that?
So when you go about that, how do you go about making the wings?
So both the dragon wings and Chernabog's wings are actually they're attached to our arms, and like there's a Sharonabog, there's an actual stick that Ken holds on to that makes the wing go out. The dragon wings are on bamboo ribs, because if you look at like the Game of Thrones dragons, interestingly, they have human proportions. And everyone's like, wait, what? And I'm like, yeah, if you look at them, their bodies, their torsos to their actual arms are human proportioned. And then the legs, their legs are a little short, so we just put the feet up a little high on our legs, but their wings are their fingers. And so you have essentially 5 long, really, really long fingers. And so the wings come up and the fingers go out from our hands, and they're bamboo. So they're a little on the heavy side, but they're not, only because it's kind of awkward. It's not bad. And I've had to replace the bamboo a couple of times on those wings because it does break. But all of the wings are just built off of our arms, which is convenient. Yeah.
And then what's handy about that is because those bamboo spines are spread out, so you're holding on basically to the top spine, and then that's your wing, right? So you have your arms stretched out over the top, you're gripping that, and the bamboo spines spread out, so you can flap the wings, you can bring it forward for a photo, but then when you go to move,
you tuck them back behind you,
collapse it back behind you, and you tuck them behind, and then you can walk, and your wings are folded up behind you.
Yeah,
that sounds super dope.
They're really fun to wear. We have to have
They sound really cool.
We have to have at least 2 handlers. 3 is better because they're a little unwieldy, and we don't get too far too fast, and we don't wear them for very long. We wore them, he wore Drogon for LACC last year, and he wore it all day, but we took a lot of breaks, and then including like one break in the middle of the day of like about an hour and a half, and we don't ever wear them for longer than maybe like 30 to 40 minutes, and that's kind of a long stretch. It's kind of like a character at Disneyland where you got to take a break and pull the top off and unclip everything and kind of take them off and relax for a little. So we don't wear them for very long, but boy, they're fun. They're so much fun, but they're pretty uncomfortable. But those 2 sets are definitely our hardest to wear, I think.
Yeah, it should be mentioned that one fun thing that we did with Drogon is she also has a Daenerys Targaryen.
Oh yeah, we did a shoot with those guys.
So we recently. Who's the photographer?
Monique, Momo's Photos is her Instagram.
Okay.
We did them up in Chatsworth, and we like hiked a really short way. We had a little off-road wagon, and we like hiked a little short way in, because again, you know, you'd want to be where people aren't. And so we were mostly away from people, but
Nice.
But we got some really fun photos. But it looks like we got a bunch of photos in a whole bunch of different places, but actually we just stood in the same place and turned and got a bunch of different landscaping. And that was kind of fun. And I mean, he was only in it for what, maybe 35 minutes, I think.
Tops. Yeah. And it looks like we have all these different setups because we just shot north and then turned and then shot east and then turned and shot west. And we had like these great like boulders with huge mountain vistas on one side, but then there was this rock face behind us. So, but we did those same characters for Bryn's middle school graduation. We actually went as Danny and Drogon.
That was her request.
That's cool.
That was her request. And people are like, are you guys here for, and we're like, no, this is what our daughter asked us to wear. And we're like, yeah, sure. She's graduating 8th grade, sure. Now she's like, I have plans for high school. And we're like, what? Because I don't know what her plans for high school are, but if that was middle school, I'm like, what?
Yeah, maybe we should start planning now. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah, she's only
how many cosplays you've done?
What's that?
You recall how many cosplays you've done?
Oh, that's good. I have no idea. I have like 5 Sallys, so I mean.
Yeah, she has 5 versions of Sally from Nightmare Before Christmas alone.
And 2 versions of Clea from Strange Tales.
You can count those as one since they're all the same iterations, right?
Sure.
Make it easier. Make the counting easier.
I honestly am not entirely sure. It'd be hard to count up.
It's probably, I mean, this is a pure guess because it's gotten up there,
So
but
there's Clea, there's Doctor Strange.
it's got to be on the order of 30
Odin
or
and
40
Frigga.
by now.
No,
I would
between the
think.
two of us, maybe. Between the two of us.
Yeah.
Well, because there's Odin and Frigga, and there's Clea and Strange, and there's the Nightmare, and there's Jungle Book and Jungle Cruise, which are kind of the same things, but there's extra costumes.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's the Ozians, and then there's the Guardians, and you can see how out of control it gets fast. Yeah.
We have a whole room that's pretty much just like, you know,
shelves with
tubs
and washing machines. And our washing machine, yeah. So where our washing machine and dryer are, we have shelves, and it has a bunch of stuff on it. It's filled with stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, and then there's the Hogwarts Founders.
Yeah. Yeah. So it adds up.
Yeah.
And that's just the ones off the top of our
Oh,
heads.
and then there's all the Disney ones.
Yeah.
Because we do the Forgotten Princesses. Yeah. Yeah, the princesses that nobody remembers.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, that's one of our
Along
favorites.
Radigan.
So
Calla. Nobody knows who Calla is.
Yeah, so the Forgotten Disney Princesses. So Calla from.
Oh, here I can grab Sunny.
So do you?
Oh, there you go.
Favorite, or you just have a lot that is your favorite?
So I love making. This is Sunny from the Gummy Bear.
From the Gummy Bear.
And she has a spider on her face. That's awesome.
Oh, go outside, little Spidey. Okay.
Is that a puppet, since you are puppeteers?
So she's actually just a straight plush.
Okay.
She has a lot of personality.
Yeah.
Though.
So the reason we do a lot of different cosplays is we really enjoy doing the competitions, and we like organizing different groups and such. And but a lot of the stuff that we end up doing, it's like, wow, wouldn't it be fun to? And then I dig around and see what I have left from, like, you know, making stuff for other people. So like the stuff we did today, the Jack and Sally we did today, it's all made from stuff I had around the house. I didn't actually buy anything except the button for his coat, because I make a lot of stuff for other people. And then so we like doing the competitions, and there's a lot of things we like putting together. And so it's kind of, before I started cosplaying, I would redecorate the house every 3 months, which is not as fun. But I just really like sewing and creating stuff. So that's kind of how we end up doing a lot of this.
So
But and puppet,
the runs of doing a competition, what is that like?
we have a really good time doing it. I admit, and I tell people, if you're in a group with us, I am a freak before the competition. I do not deal well with the right like 2 hours before, and I apologize to everyone in advance. I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm a total freak. You'll have to put up with me or just bail now.
It's worth it. It's worth it.
We really enjoy organizing the people. We enjoy performing. I mean, we've been musicians for years. Our daughter does choir. She does plays and things.
Yeah.
We just really enjoy performing. So the competition, and we love hanging out backstage and seeing all the costumes up close, and so we enjoy all that stuff about the competing. Mm-hmm. It's really fun to be back, and we enjoy participating at some point. So it's fun to have something to participate in at a convention. Even if you're doing a panel, that's fun. We did a panel at San Diego. That was a lot of fun.
That sounds like it was nice. How did that go?
I think it went pretty well. It seemed like there were a lot of people interested. You know, people are kind of coming and going the whole time, and we had questions at the end, and finally they booted us out because our time was up. But we had a good time, and hopefully people came in and saw something and were vaguely inspired to try something that they might be thinking about.
Yeah. And the panel the panel that we did was specifically on oversized cosplays.
Yes.
Okay.
So because we feel like there are additional challenges. I mean, all cosplays have challenges. Some of them have like a very technical or detail aspect. Some of them, there may be something with the fabrics of the fabrication, or there may be both, sewing and armor components. all of them have their own challenges, but we feel like with the oversized cosplays, there are almost some kind of engineering style challenges, you know.
And then
like,
there's some actual challenges getting around a convention when you're in something really big that's a little harder to
Sure.
navigate.
Or when you're in something that's really built up. And hello, Ocarina. This is Ocarina.
Hello, Ocarina.
She's very.
She likes handsome young men.
Yes.
Well, thank you.
And handsome older men, and frankly, older men that are vaguely homely. So
Yeah.
she has a.
You look lovely today, my dear.
So coming from a musical standpoint and kind of a theater background, is that what got you into cosplay?
Honestly, it's because I enjoy sewing and creating. And I've been making costumes since I was like, middle school, I guess. How old are you in middle school? 12, 13? Yeah, I've been, my mom put me in sewing lessons when I was in 4th grade. And myself and my stepsister took sewing lessons. And it's because I wasn't allowed to use the sewing machine until I took lessons. And so, yeah, I've been sewing all kinds of things ever since. Quilts, clothes. Yeah, I really enjoy sewing and creating. It's, it's kind of my thing to do. And
so it's like kind of meant to be.
Yeah,
simply meant.
And then in my case, I like to dress up a lot as a kid. And then I started, I grew up a drama kid. So by the time I got old enough that people would be a little concerned that I was playing dress up, I was doing it on stage, and nobody looks at you sideways if you're doing it on stage. It's okay. So, so I grew up wearing costumes, until, not that long before I met her. And then, with cosplay, there's kind of a socially acceptable, outlet for it. So I've kind of never not been in costume. And I can only imagine what it's like for Bryn growing up in that kind of environment, because she grew up a performer on stage wearing costumes and doing cosplay all the time. So she's just never existed in reality where, dressing up as like a dragon or a fairy or whatever. Oh, the Good Fairies.
Oh, that was another one. Yeah, we did the Good Fairies. And so she also got to dress up as, she's a Disney kid. We've been taking her to Disneyland forever. And she saw all of the characters before she saw any of the movies, and she got to dress up as pretty much whatever she wanted. I'm like, oh, I can make that, because, little kid costumes, it's like 2 yards of fabric and 2 hours out of your day. If you've been sewing for a while, if it takes you 8 hours to make it, whatever, 2 days, 2 weeks, okay, sure, but it doesn't take a lot of fabric, and they're a lot easier to put together. Kids don't have contours like adults do. They're like little tubes. So, you can also, it can be a little baggy because they'll grow out of it in a week. Literally, I made Bryn a Ray costume, and she grew out of it in a month. Whoa. 1 month. She hit like a growth spurt. And I was like, wow, it's time to hand that down already. And it was like, great. We have like one set of photos. It was this perfect Ray costume. And she just, boom.
Yeah.
Didn't fit anymore.
We have one set of amazing photos. We walked onto Buena Vista Street at Disney's California Adventure. One of the Disney photographers was there. And of course, they have that internal competition where, they all try to get the best photos of the month. And she saw pint-sized Ray come walking into the park and said, can I borrow her and got these amazing photos.
Yeah.
God, I wish I could remember who the photographer was.
That was Kristen.
Yes.
His roommate.
Yes.
That's the first day we met her.
Kristen, yeah.
And
we're still in touch with her today.
Oh, long time friend, nice.
And then once Bryn was old enough, we told her, oh, you can pick whatever you want for Halloween. whatever you want. And the first time we did Halloween with her, it was like right when Lord of the Rings had come out, the Fellowship, it was Fellowship.
Yeah, Fellowship, yeah.
No, it was
Oh, was it Two Towers?
It was just after Two Towers, because we saw Two Towers in London.
Oh.
And that was right before
Okay.
So it was like right around, I think Return of the King, she'd have been about 1.5 years. And we dressed her up as Frodo because we thought it was hilarious.
Because she's already bite-sized.
And it was hilarious.
It was hilarious.
And so the next year we're like, you can pick whatever you want to be for Halloween. We're expecting, and I said, and I'll make costumes. Ken and I'll wear whatever you decide we're going to be for Halloween. And she picked Frodo. And I was a little surprised. I'm like, okay, Frodo, 2 years in a row, and then of course last year she wanted to be Frodo again. So I've made her 4 Frodo costumes now because she.
Nice.
But every year we let her pick whatever she wants. So that's how we ended up. We did Lord of the Rings one year, and then one year we did Prince Caspian, and then the following year we did DC superheroes. Well, that's the other thing. We've done a bunch of DC superheroes too.
We've actually. I grew up a Marvel kid.
Yeah.
So,
but Bryn loved DC. She loved the Bruce Timm, the Justice League
Bruce
Unlimited.
Tim, Paul,
yeah. Oh my, that was like her main jam. She had all the characters when she was a kid, so we did a lot of those.
She
characters.
Loved Booster Gold.
Oh God, she loved Booster Gold. Oh my God, she loved Booster Gold.
She's one of the 3 people at the Booster Club meetout.
Oh, she loves Skeets, and
he has his little robot buddy Skeets, and
we took, and there were a bunch of characters they didn't make, so we took like a Polly Pockets and made it into a Mira, because they didn't have a Mira at the time because she wasn't staying yet. And oh my God, so yeah, I don't remember how we got on this topic, but just things. I would cosplay,
yeah.
I'll get it in the re-thing. When I watch it, I'll figure it out. Like, oh, okay, that's what we were talking about.
Yep. Yep. We stumbled onto Bryn's Forbidden Booster
Do you have
Gold.
any favorite prop that you've made or used?
Oh, my favorite prop.
That's a good question.
Okay, seriously.
Okay, you're not a prop. You're an ocarina
prop. Gosh. You know what? Actually, let me pull out a prop that actually spawned an entire cosplay. Actually, let me put ocarina away.
A prop that expired. Okay.
Spawned a whole cosplay. Yeah. Hang on. Everyone can see my butt now in the video. That's great.
No, it's cut off. You can see it's like right cut off at the back.
Nice.
Oh, thank God.
Okay. One of the ones that we have coming up that we're excited about is I don't know if you've seen the Dragon Prince series.
Well, I don't know.
No, it's on the list. It's been on my list like forever. People have been telling me to watch it, but I haven't watched it yet.
Yeah. We really enjoyed. Well,
she's not cosplaying right
before she had stopped cosplaying, assuming she stays that way. We had been.
She's hinting she wants to start doing it again.
Okay. So I'm gonna say some words now.
So yeah, go.
So, because I'm filling time while you're off fooling around. So, but we had really enjoyed the Dragon Prince, and whoever did the essentially the prop design. I mean, obviously everything is CG and nothing's actually real world rendered. But one of the main characters, Rayla, the Moonshadow elf, assassin who can't manage to bring herself to kill anyone, which is fun. But she has these weird, almost like large-size multi-tool blades that act as both climbing axes and offensive weapons, defensive weapons, and we were looking forward to finding a way to build those.
So this is King George. I don't know if you can see all of King George.
Or slide back a little bit.
There you go.
This is King George. He is my basilisk. He's quite heavy, actually, and I don't have my wrist brace in that I need to actually work him. So I'll just hold his head up. He was actually made with stuff I had in my back room. I didn't buy anything except for the Christmas tree ornaments that are his eyes. He has
Get him close up.
He has if you look real, can you see his eyes?
Mm-hmm.
He has it's what's called DAS, and I formed the like the inside of the eye and then painted it, and then it goes in a clear plastic Christmas tree ornament, and that's how you get like eyes like his. And
That is awesome.
I made him from like stuff that was lying around, and then I'm like, I need to take him to a con. And I'm like, but he's a basilisk, so I made a Salazar Slytherin costume, like a founder's costume. Oh yeah, this is so this is the DAS. It's not painted yet. This is what's going to go into the next cosplay I'm working on, which is Belle and Beast.
Okay.
So this is for Beast. So I'm like, I'm gonna make a Salazar Slytherin. So then I made him a Rowena Ravenclaw, and Bryn a Helga Hufflepuff. And we wanted something that was like the founders. Okay, can you fix it so that our heads aren't chopped off anymore? Oh, thank you.
There you go.
And it was like,
There you go.
so we wanted it to be like actual historically close or accurate.
Okay.
Which spawned into like a ton of research about 10th century garb and what it would have been at the time when essentially the country and the Isles looked way different and were mostly ruled by Vikings at the time. And so we ended up with some kind of more Viking styled, Romanesque styled costuming than I've seen, but it was a fun cosplay, but it was all because of George.
I like how you inspired a whole cosplay. That's amazing.
I wanted to take him to Anime LA, and so the only con we went to this year. It was fun.
Yeah.
I miss it.
Well, and what was fun about the... What's that?
What's that?
So there was cons open this year?
Anime LA was in January.
Yeah. So this would have been right before the wall came down.
Before things were spreading,
Okay.
were bad, before, yeah. It was, so that's the only one we went to this year before everything closed and came down, and
I obviously had no idea
yeah,
that was going to be, you always want to, have the best time you can, and you never want to take anything for granted, but all these con goers with no idea that this is going to be the last major con for more than a year.
Yeah.
Long
Beach was the same weekend. So normally we do Long Beach in February, but this year they decided to hold it the same weekend as Anime LA. And so we didn't make Long Beach, but some of our friends went to Long Beach. Oh, George.
Did you just get spiked by
I did.
a basilisk horn?
I did. Don't tell Ocarina, but he's my favorite prop.
Do you have?
I think she's out of.
Prop, or do you both have a prop that you love?
Yeah. What's your favorite prop, Ken? Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
Anything Doctor Strange.
I don't know if it counts as a prop, but she's far more skilled with the sewing side of things, and so growing up, like we all have a character that like we really respond to, and growing up I was a pretty booky kid. I think like probably like a lot of cosplayers, it's like a little more on the nerdy side. Mm-hmm. And you have all of these characters that, and let us not doubt my love for Spider-Man and all the Spider-Verse, because he was also, we
have a ton of Spider-Man comic books.
Yeah. So yeah. I've been collecting Amazing Spider-Man and so on, since back in the day. And I mean, his thing is, he had powers, but he was also really smart. So, mm-hmm. So let us not doubt the love for the Spider-Man family, but I really fell in love with Doctor Strange, who was a pretty,
Marvel pillow.
Oh, that's so cool.
Well, that's awesome.
but I really dug Doctor Strange back in the day because he fought the mystic forces of evil with the power of books, and I thought that was pretty cool. So and it's like, and it got to be that kind of discussion, right? Because it's like, if your main guy is going to be Doctor Strange, you have to have another superhero that you really like that people have heard of.
Yeah.
So people say, oh, I hear you're really into comic books, and you say, yeah, I really like comic books. And they say, well, what are your favorite comic books? And you're like, well, I like DC fine, but I'm really into Marvel comic books. And they say, oh, who's your favorite character? Well, it's Doctor Strange. Who?
Until a few years ago, it was.
It's Doctor Strange. He's like this Vincent Price magician guy.
Like, who? What?
And you're like, but I really like Spider-Man. Oh, Spider-Man! I know Spider-Man. Spider-Man is a thing that is on the television that I have heard of, and I can now connect with you via Spider-Man. So, so Spider-Man was always and I loved Spider-Man. I was always collecting Spider-Man, but he was for people that weren't really into comics, because every now and then you would say Doctor Strange, and the person would say, I love Doctor. And now we're having a different interaction.
Favorite prop.
Sorry, favorite prop. So when the
going fine.
Robert Cargill, John Spates film came out with Marvel Studios.
Yeah, you have to specify which one.
And we had cinematic version on the big screen. I was so excited that was coming, and we have some friends that actually wound up getting access to the costume before the film had come out, when it was just trailers. They had actually been at an event where the costume was displayed, and they got incredibly good photos.
Oh yeah, that was Bernie.
Yeah, Bernie.
You get one or the other. I remember your Instagram or your first name, or both. Who is he on Instagram? I don't.
Okay.
You get one.
Good.
I remember your name, or I remember your Instagram.
Anyway, Bernie. Bernie has hosted a bunch of
yeah, but he
anyway, he got
took
great
a bunch
photos,
of really good close-up photos of the cloak,
and posted them on. Could have kept all of that to himself, but he posted it on Facebook. Well, but I made his belt.
That's not a prop, though. That's a costume.
We made the.
Is the necklace a prop?
Yeah, but I didn't make that.
Yeah, but
we made the cloak. We made his cloak of levitation. Yeah, but it's Doctor Strange.
Okay.
The cloak of levitation.
I guess that's it.
I think it might be the cloak, which actually all three of us worked on. Bryn helped on that too.
Yeah, and that's what I was getting at, is what's one of the really neat things about it is that there's so much that goes into that cloak, and I mean, it's rigged to me like a prop. You know, it's like we actually have this crisscross,
like they were in Game of Thrones
formation.
It
Yeah, that actually mounts it.
Yeah, because it's heavy. It's a few pounds. It's actually really, really heavy.
So, but it's something that all three of us worked on together.
True.
So,
and I just finished it this summer. So hey, I guess that was good for quarantine, because he's been wearing it for a few years without it being actually done.
Yeah.
I didn't finish the lining until this summer.
So there you go. I'm not afraid of controversy. Qui-Gon Jinn is the best Jedi, and the Cloak of Levitation is a prop. Fight.
Or don't.
Or please don't. I bruise easily, and not in the face. Please.
And you might whine a lot.
Yeah. I just flail.
What would you say was your most embarrassing moment in cosplay, if you have any? Like any wardrobe malfunctions, any pieces like come off, you get like totally embarrassed?
Wow.
You mean other than 3 minutes ago? Let me see, or 5 minutes ago when I was showing my butt on video.
What about the Photoshop, the photo shoot just this morning, when I didn't realize, because we had just put the costume together for the first time, that I needed something to keep my pants up, so my pants kept falling down, and I had bone on my fingers for Jack, so I couldn't keep pulling my pants up, so I have to have other people pulling my pants up. You mean something like that?
Here's the thing. Ken has a very
high tolerance.
Tolerance for being embarrassed, like really embarrassingly to me, high tolerance. So I've become kind of inured to it, and things that embarrass me aren't like costume malfunctions, you know. I think maybe it was that time you wore time and you were like way too hot and you flipped out in the parking lot. That was embarrassing, actually. Because he was like starting to heat stroke, and as soon as he freaked out like that, we're like, oh crap, we need to get him inside. He's too hot. He's actually too hot, because we work outside and we know heat stroke, and it was like one of those triggers that you're like, whoa, he's actually like danger zone too hot.
Yeah.
And so we like took him into air conditioning immediately.
Yeah.
But I was a little more concerned about that than being embarrassed. I really have to think about it.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like when you heat stroke, you just kind of flip your lid. You're not yourself.
Yeah,
and I got
and
a little,
it scared people.
I got a little wacky. Yeah. So fortunately we and see, this is the thing, is it's like in the wake of that, we were desperate to find some place that we could, like, because all of us were pretty overheated, and this was actually our very first,
not like danger zone overheated. Yeah,
I might have been danger zone.
You were she and I weren't.
In my big plastic hat
for time. Oh, that's right. We do all of
beard and my furs,
because we do a whole bunch of different Wonderland characters. And he was doing time from Through the Looking Glass, and he has that crazy, like, he has fur and like this plastic hat, and it was San Diego and it was summer, and yeah.
But we discovered and this was actually our first San Diego Comic-Con, so we actually weren't even able to get passes that year. Yeah. So we actually just went and just kind of skirted around
everything outside, which is enough to do, and you could spend a couple days doing that.
Yeah,
that's the best way to go. If you can't get tickets, wander outside.
It was fun. It was just, we didn't have really appropriate costumes for being outside. It was a little hotter.
We definitely learned something from that, which is make sure you're looking out for the performer, make sure you're looking out for yourself.
Go inside where there's air conditioning and get a beverage.
But we actually we wound up going kind of right around the corner from the convention hall, and we discovered a place called Skybound Cafe.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Which I will sing the praises of till my dying day.
Yeah, we missed seeing them this year.
It's the best kept secret of San Diego Comic-Con, as far as I'm concerned, because they're like 2 blocks away from the convention center, and they have they have drinks and treats, and it's a great place to kind of restore yourself when you're in the middle of the con. So anytime we're doing the see, Miles needs a little refreshment every now and then too. Mm-hmm. But like every time we're at San Diego Comic-Con that we are doing the masquerade, we have a system, which is we'll kind of we'll show up a little late, to give because we're going to be going hardcore until 2 a.m. We just are.
Oh yeah, when you do the competition.
When you do the masquerade, when you do the competition. So we'll show up. Late. We'll show up a little bit late. We'll go kind of all day, and then like right around you'll usually have a break between kind of the check-in and setup, and when you have to actually report to like start getting ready for the masquerade. And so we will adjourn to Skybound Cafe, and we'll get some food, and we'll get some drinks, and I will drink all the coffee that there is to drink, and we'll kind of like get ourselves get our system set and get reset, and ready for the big push into the masquerade. So Skybound Cafe, San Diego, California.
So since you were in San Diego and it was Comic-Con, did you come across anybody that was famous?
He almost got run over by Elijah Wood. And then he's like, he is Hobbit size. And I was like, really? And he's like, yeah, he's 5'6". And I'm like, I'm 5'6". Apparently I'm Hobbit sized.
Was he getting that at that time? Did you get to go on?
Was he what?
I said, was he DJing that time? Did you get to go to one of his shows?
Oh, we did not.
Ah,
I get to meet him at you know, the funny thing is Phoenix Comic-Con, or whatever they call it, they change their name like every year. It is one of the best places to go and actually get to like see people and see panels and things, because it's not as crowded. And so we actually did get to meet him at Phoenix Comic-Con, which was neat. But no, Ken was going into the men's restroom as he was running out, because it was like one of the restrooms that was like cordoned off for the masquerade competition. So only masquerade people and then anybody else that might have been on stage could use it. And so Elijah Wood was running out of the men's restroom as Ken was running in, and Ken's like, "Oh my God, I nearly got run down." And I'm like, how does somebody that's 5'6" almost run somebody that's 6 feet down?
But I'll tell you what, regardless of what his stature is physically, that is a guy that moves with intent. And I can see how you could put him at the head of an entire franchise, because when he is barreling toward you, you get the F out of the way. I'm 6 foot 200 pounds, and I went meep and jumped off to the side in a more sprightly fashion than I should be capable of, because he was an express train and he was coming.
So yeah, so occasionally we'll see folks, but you know, San Diego it's so huge, and there's so many people, and I do love it for that. In fact, that was actually the cons, shockingly, I think I missed most this year was San Diego, of all things, because it doesn't feel like that would be the one I'd miss most, because I have a lot of fun at WonderCon. But yeah, it's fun, it's neat, but it's just there's so many people there, you know, it's just such a vanity. It's like, wow. So you don't see too many. I don't know. I haven't seen too many famous people.
I don't know if this counts as famous people, but one of my favorite things is your access to creators at these, cool. Because I like the actors, and it's really interesting to, you know, as having come up on stage and you know, I'm obviously not famous, but it's really cool to see the actors that you've seen on screen and then get to actually encounter them and hear about their behind the scenes. But to me, it's just as interesting to meet, you know, the writers, the directors, the showrunners, the creators of some of your favorite things. So, and like one of the opportunities that I had at one of the cons, Scott Snyder, who, he wrote on Batman. He wrote a bunch of the major arcs. He wrote on Court of Owls, and he wrote a lot of the comic material that looks like is going to be brought into the upcoming movie, The Batman, with Robert Pattinson. And he did a thing for librarians and just anybody who wanted to attend, just kind of like a meet and greet kind of thing with a bunch of other writers and artists and creators, and you could just kind of go around from all of the other tables and just kind of talk, you know. Which
con was this?
This was at WonderCon.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think the smaller cons actually have some better access than San Diego does, because we like to cosplay, so we're not really going to stand in the line for Hall H. In fact, this year is the first year we saw some really interesting panels. We watched a bunch of the panels from the San Diego at Home con, and so we're like, wow, we actually got to see panels this year, because we'll try and hit at least 1 or 2 panels every convention we go to. Phoenix, you can hit a lot more because it's not as crowded, and so you can walk in and you can see Ray Park. You don't have to stand in line forever. You can see, who was the guy that played Neville? I can never remember his name.
Oh gosh.
He played Neville in Harry Potter. Anyways.
Oh, shame on me.
But I mean, you could still go in. It was a huge hall and it was very full, but you could still go in and you could listen to him talk about working on Harry Potter and stuff. And then there was, the 2 guys that did a lot of work with Stan Lee, and they did that Stan Lee Remembrance.
Oh,
that was at Phoenix really Comic-Con too. We could just walk into that. You know, it's just, there's not as many people, but they have really great creators and stuff there, so you can actually see a lot more people at smaller conventions. Or like Long Beach, where I saw this was so geeky, but Long Beach had all of the voice actors that did all of Cobra from the old G.I. Joes.
Oh, nice.
So I was like, yeah, I totally fangirled all over all of them. And the gal that played Baroness, she did the Baroness voice for me. It was so awesome. It was great, you know. But again, it was a much smaller convention.
Yeah, not to speak for Bryn, but one of her favorite things is we were at D23.
Yeah.
And Jim Cummings, who does a bunch of the Disney voices. He's probably best. Do you want to? You come tell it.
Oh,
okay. Okay. Rewind. Stop. Play. So. I don't know if Bryn understands what when you're recording what that is. We're just hanging out, right?
We got
anyway,
Jim Cummings.
Yeah, so Jim Cummings, well, we had one prior con where Jim Cummings was actually doing meet and greet. He had a table, and so she was able to go up and she was able to actually meet him, and he did the voice he did the Pooh voice and he did the Tigger voice for her, and she thought that was really great, and
yeah,
she walked away starry-eyed. So and this is what I mean, you know, sometimes about the, you know, sometimes it's not about the faces, it's about the I don't think there's anybody she would have rather encountered, you know, than being able to walk up to him and hear those voices come out of him, and then walk away with a signed piece of artwork that's on her wall to this day, that has what is it, Pooh and Tigger, you know, signed by him. And then fast forward to some years later, and we were at D23, and we had actually been in the Masquerade earlier that day, and I was dressed as
that's right.
I was dressed as the tiger because we were doing a Jungle Cruise group.
Yeah.
And so I was dressed as the Tiger of the Temple, and we were standing it was kind of a standing room only audience, and Jim Cummings was on stage being interviewed, as, you know,
I think this was the D23 before, where we were dressed as the Jungle Book characters.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Yeah. And Jim Cummings thought you were
Yeah,
Tigger.
Jim Cummings was talking about all of his many characters, and he mentioned Tigger, and he gestures towards me, and everybody turns to look at me in full tiger regalia.
Dressed as Shere Khan, but
yeah, but as it turns out, if Jim Cummings decides you're Tigger, you're Tigger.
Yeah. It was a convoluted story, but yeah, I think it was the year before, because we went as Jungle Book for D23. Because that was the last time we wore those costumes before she grew out of it, and I remade it.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. What is something you've never cosplayed for any sort of reason?
Tiana. I like Tiana a lot, but I won't. I feel uncomfortable cosplaying her.
Yeah. You know, that's a good point. I think anything. I think there's two answers.
Just for me. I mean, you know, honestly, if somebody else did Tiana regardless, I'd be like, yeah, that's great. But for me, I wouldn't.
We love Black Panther, Wakanda Forever.
Oh,
but
God,
I don't.
It's too soon. It's too soon.
I know.
I'm
R.I.P.
so bummed.
R.I.P. Chadwick Boseman.
He showed up. He showed up on an episode of Cold Case when he was really, really young, and I'm like, I literally was ready to start crying. So, anyways.
Yeah. So, but doing like anything like that, where it's like,
there's so few really, really wonderful role models out there that they put into movies for persons of color, that I feel like, you know, I have others I can play. I should just leave those for.
So anything like like doing anything from Coco, which we love.
Love Coco.
Doing anything from Black Panther, which we love. I feel like.
Oh, because I would love to do one of his guards. Oh my God, those costumes.
Yeah, the Dora
so
Milaje.
Cool.
Are incredible. And based on an actual historical all-female guard that is really from African history. So
really awesome. Just don't. And
the costumes for them are incredible. But
pretty much anything else, you know, age-wise, like, you know, we've done characters that Kala, the princess that I do is, you know, the only time you ever see her, she's like 12. I'm not 12. I just made an older Kala, you know, kind of a thing. You know, I have a, Witcher, we also have done Witcher. I have a Jaskier costume, and it's not like a female Jaskier. I don't really try and hide that I'm a woman, but it's not a girl's costume, you know, kind of whatever.
Yeah,
I don't care about.
I've done my version of traditionally female characters. We do the three Schuyler sisters from
those are more bound
from
but
Hamilton, more.
Okay.
But we do the Good Fairies from
that's
Sleeping Beauty,
character.
and again, it's, you know, it's kind of a guy version, but
so any, you know, a dude willing to do a woman fairy, I mean, you know, kind of in anything.
Come at me on that one.
We'll do any kind of weird creatures.
I don't care.
One of the things that I stopped working on this year that we were going to do for WonderCon is I'm working on, and I'll probably finish it next year, is a Zawu costume. The Zawu from Fantastic Beasts, which is, you know, it's not, we do a lot of non-human characters too. So pretty much, you know, almost anything, but I'm just, the one thing I haven't done is some of the characters that, I would totally, she's one of the few princesses I think I would really do, but I just don't, because I love her so. But yeah, you're kind of the same.
We had a friend here recently that did Stormfront from The Boys.
Yeah.
And
she hasn't posted those photos.
Yeah.
Yeah, she never did post those photos.
Which I thought was a really bold choice. And I mean, she's, you know, she's very much an all-inclusive. And I understand that when they create that character in The Boys, they're not trying to promote that character's ideology as a good ideology. But I thought that was actually really brave of her, because she herself does not at all espouse that ideology.
She hasn't posted the photos yet.
I can't help it.
And I made that costume quite a while ago now.
I don't know that I would be brave enough to, like, and it should be said, we do a lot of villains.
Yeah, we do a lot of villains.
There
are some villains I wouldn't want to do.
Yeah, but I think that there are villains where I just cannot at all resolve with their worldview that I would
probably like what's his name, Homelander.
That'd be a tough one.
Yeah. But I mean, he's so ridiculously over the top, obviously. Just so, and you know, and honestly, I enjoy seeing them. I enjoy seeing the cosplays. So I just myself, I'm like, you know. So yeah. Are there any others? I don't know. Yeah, I think the one that comes immediately to mind though for me is Tiana, because I've been like, oh, she's so cool. But you know, or
maybe like anything from back in the day where it's like, you know, it's something from the 50s or 60s that hasn't dated well,
hasn't aged
well, and everybody's like, oh,
what a risky.
I think, you know, even if it was something that you know that you really love, you know, you might just kind of say,
there's other ways to enjoy it.
I will enjoy this in other ways.
Yep.
How do you choose what you're gonna cosplay when you're choosing what to cosplay? How do you choose that?
Oh, that's a good question. Well, so like Halloween, Bryn picks.
A lot of times it's driven by what we encounter. So you know, if there's a new property that we know is coming out or has just come out, and we're like, wow, we really respond to that, and especially if there are cosplays that map really well onto us. So like when Bryn is or was cosplaying, you know, if there's like a male and two female characters that we really respond to, or sometimes, but not always, if there's somebody that we look very much physically like, like
Yeah, we did Ego and Meredith because you look so much like your own Kurt Russell when you shave your face.
Yeah. When I shave, I kind of have that Kurt Russell chin.
Yeah.
And you throw a flowing brown wig on me, and I make a not too bad
too bad.
kind of in between.
And we could wear that into the parks.
Yeah.
So, because it's just clothes.
That was actually pretty fun. Is that we dressed in kind of essentially full cosplay as young Ego and Meredith from the very, very opening scene of Guardians 2. You know, where it's back in the day before Peter Quill is born, and they're driving out in the
He's
out in the
probably
country.
seen it.
But no, I know. But where they kind of did the CG age regression on Kurt Russell, and
he mapped well on, and it was just regular clothes. That was fun. We wore those into the parks.
Yeah, wore those into the parks and went and saw the Guardians folks and
hung out with Groot. Groot did not like Ego.
Imagine you wouldn't.
Yeah, I mean, fair.
And sometimes I just get a wild hair, like the dragons. I love the Game of Thrones dragons so much that I wanted to make those costumes. So, you know.
best dragons ever on screen.
They are the best dragons. Not ours, the ones in the show.
Oh, yeah. The actual Game of Thrones dragons on the actual Game of Thrones.
They're so good.
Best dragons ever on
I love
screen.
those dragons so much. And I want one.
Based largely.
I want a dragon.
Have you ever seen the movie Reign of Fire?
That's pretty good
Matthew
too.
McConaughey and.
Oh, I don't remember any of the other.
I don't believe I do.
Those dragons.
That formed the basis for the dragons that were actually used in Game of Thrones.
Ooh, I have to check
it's a fun movie just in general.
Yeah,
I love monster movies. So.
Basically, the dragons had been underground. They on like kind of our Earth, and they basically
That's it.
Yeah, that's it.
Don't no spoilers.
That's it.
Okay.
People and dragons and
It's a good end of the world kind of movie to watch, you know.
And playing a Matthew McConaughey.
Yep.
Ooh, end of the world type movie with dragons. Okay.
Very much so.
That sounds very interesting.
So sometimes I just get a wild hair, and this year we had like a whole bunch of cosplay plans set up, and then the quarantine hit, so we ended up. I finished Doctor Strange. I made a new Clea. Not what I'd really planned to do. And then the Witcher stuff we hadn't planned to do. We were like, oh, we could do that.
That was entirely a quarantine project.
Our latest Jack and Sally that were based on the Hannah Alexander artwork, I didn't plan to do those. I was like, oh, that could be fun. Just completely different stuff than we would have done if we were doing conventions.
Yeah. Sometimes we'll be inspired not just by the original characters, but there'll be original characters that we like, and then some artist will come out with like kind of their spin, and we're like, that's really compelling.
Yeah.
So there are a couple of times, Hannah Alexander, who's the kind of Instagram artist.
She's just an artist.
Yeah, I mean, she's just an artist, but I think most people know her from Instagram.
Really good artist. I love
she does these
stuff.
phenomenal sort of couture renditions of a lot of these characters, and sometimes
Art Nouveau mostly.
Art Nouveau, and we'll find that really compelling. So like a couple of, like she was saying, the Art Nouveau Jack and Sally that we did recently, which was one of the most recent ones. We went up to the Los Angeles the
Griffith Park.
Now we went up to Griffith Park and had photos of those done, or the what was the other one?
What other one?
And the Beauty and the Beast that we are
that's the Greg Leslie
presently working on, that are based not just on the the original animated movie versions or the live action movie versions, but Greg Lesniak specifically has done a version of Beast and Belle where her dress is very ornate and period, and Beast is very well appointed but monstrous.
He's huge.
I mean, he's enormous and he dwarfs her, and so we're putting together here again. It's part fashion, but it's part build. So I'm going to be up on painter's stilts, and we have to basically construct the body, so that the head will actually be sitting up on top of my head, so that he'll actually have the full stature. But then we have to actually also put together, the garments that will be a part of that. So, as time has gone on, we've gotten more ambitious and have brought, more elements, be it the foam armor or, the actual structural builds. And, you just start building the toolkit and putting the pieces together in different configurations. And
it's fun.
Yeah, and it's fun.
So
and then we get to talk to you about it.
So when you're building stuff, like, what are the building materials and the instruments you use to build those?
Oh.
Did you meet the hot glue gun? Because I feel like we should introduce the hot glue gun.
So, don't put the hot end on the cord. That's bad.
Oh yeah, that would be very bad.
Yeah.
Safety tip.
Safety first. You've edited that part about the fire in the house, right? Safety first. So it really depends on what we're making. The dragons are almost entirely foam. Drogon's head was actually made with extra stuff I had laying around left over from other projects. Okay. And then we used foam that we bought for the other two. But the dragons are almost entirely foam, except for their tails, which are stitched together, and then the scales are put over like these cloth tails.
Yeah.
The Zawu, for his tail, I have a pool noodle to use. So because I needed something really light and hollow, and so I was like, pool noodles, because that'll work great for that. Sometimes I use upholstery foam for stuff, like when we did the Jungle Cruise, I made a hippo and a rhino head, and they're like almost Richard Scarry characters, where the big hippo head sits on like a human person in clothes, and that's made out of foam, like upholstery foam, not Eva foam, not the like the foam that you would like hot glue, but like upholstery foam.
Uh-huh.
In fact, the Kentor butts are made of the upholstery foam. And so like for like cutting, foam, like for costumes, like the Eva foam, like razor blades and things. But for the upholstery foam, I have a bread knife, an electric bread knife. And that's the best thing to cut foam with, is an electric bread knife. For some stuff, I have, a wood burner to cut things.
Yeah, that does a nice job.
Yeah, I have a Dremel set for like smaller stuff, for sanding things. Just what else? What other tools do I have? I have various different glues and contacts, and if at all possible.
Well, you should mention the acetate glue. That's a pro tip.
Yeah, well, the acetate glue is good for some stuff. Acetate. So we went to a wedding we met some folks, and that day they got engaged, and we met them through a friend. So we were hanging out with them at Disneyland. They got engaged that day, so they on a whim invited us to their wedding as well. And at their wedding, the groom, his aunt, is actually one of the people that makes the heads for amusement parks, and so she made like all of Beast's heads in the US. So like the Beast that you see in Disney World and the Beast you see at Disneyland, she's made some of the heads. And she was talking about acetate glue being like one of the best glues you can use to make stuff attach and it'll like stay. And I was like, ooh, tell me more, kind of a thing. And so we had like this long conversation about manufacturing stuff. But I was actually going to say one of the things, because I am, I started out as seamstress, a lot of the stuff that we put together has both a mechanical way that it attaches and glue, because I don't like relying just on glue if I can avoid it. So like the dragon's tails, the tail is attached to the back with glue. But when the dog and the cat attacked Viserian's tail and I had to cut it off, throw it away, and completely remake his tail. Oh yeah. What I did was I'm like, oh, the glue isn't working, obviously, because those tails get kind of heavy. I also have a strap that goes in, and the strap attaches to the strap that goes around my hips. And so, yeah, it's glued on, but it's also mechanically attached as well. And so like the wings, it's kind of the same thing. We have like, it doesn't just like attach to the arms. There's a sleeve that you put in, and it's worked into the wings so that there's a mechanical attachment as well. So yeah, just depending on what we're doing, we kind of, you know, figure out, okay, what's the best way to do this kind of a thing, you know. And with the puppets, you know, it's a whole almost different skill set, because you're going in and you have to, okay, well, how are you going to make this totally attach and it won't ever move? Honestly, the best way, if you can, is a mechanical way of doing it. But some things, like, you know, like the mechanism that attaches to the blinker that makes the eyes go up and down, so that, you know, you can pull the spring down and the spring will push the eyes back up. That I went in and used like plumber's Loctite, you know, to keep that in place, because it like dries as like a ceramic. So, you know, it depends on what we're putting together. It gets a little nutty.
Yeah. There have been a couple of times that we're trying to solve some specific cosplay problem that you go to like a Home Depot or something like that, and wander the aisles specifically with your problem in mind, because there's so much there.
Or an Ace. An Ace is good too.
Ace is great too. Yeah.
Wander the aisles. And they're like, what are you looking for? And like the guys at Ace now, they're like, oh God, it's that weird woman again that's making those puppets.
They like when she shows up now.
I'm like, so I need this because I'm doing this with it. And they're like, what are you doing with it? And so I like showed them. I'm like, I'm making this mechanism. And they're like, oh, well. And so they'll like walk me around. Well, maybe, you know, we'll be in the sprinkler aisle or something. Like this metal sprinkler clamp might work for that. And just, so yeah, the wandering the aisles is good.
Yeah. But she has a good point, because at the big box stores, they have more stuff. You have a better chance of coming across something. We were looking for a piece for she did the female version of the Tin Woodsman from
from Oz,
from the Wizard of Oz
properties,
and we were looking for something that was essentially like a pauldron, I was looking, so the Tin Woman I put together, and the Scarecrow actually, and the Lion, all have nods to the characters in The Wiz as well, because that's my favorite music of all of the Oz properties. Sorry, Wicked, but my favorite music is the stuff from The Wiz, because it's just so good. And so we put there are little nods, like the Scarecrow has a bunch of orange and white striped bows, like Michael Jackson's sleeves as the Scarecrow. And his lion, a lot of the face is actually based on one of the lions at the San Diego Safari Park, but also on the lion from The Wiz. And so for my Tin Woman, I wanted something from like Nipsey Russell's Tin Man, because his Tin Man had a lot of different pieces of refuse and such on him. So I'm like, I need stuff that looks like I got it out of a trash can or something, you know. So we're wandering the aisles of Home Depot looking for pieces to put onto my Tin Woman costume. And we ended up with what, air conditioning duct work, I think it was. Yeah, it's like air conditioning work. Because it turns out like if you have a pipe coming this way and you need to elbow it, there's like a cladding that you can get that you basically you basically cut it, and then it becomes like your shoulder. And
you can make it like, you know, bend. And so, yeah, my shoulder pauldrons are air conditioning duct work.
You're accidentally learning a lot of stuff about hardware too.
Yeah.
Building like plumbing stuff.
But what's great about the Ace and the Home Depot is that you have guys there that know the place like the back of their hand, and women.
Yeah.
Guys and gals that know the place
Ace
like the back of their hand.
entirely guys.
And so you can take advantage of that expertise to solve your weird cosplay
cosplay problem. And it's interesting and different for them, so
they get really into it.
Usually they're pretty into it.
Yeah. She walks in, ooh, what are you doing now?
Some of them are just like, they help you as fast as they can, and then they run. You know, they remember they need to be in Timbuktu.
You find out who's more adventurous.
Yep.
So, one of the other things that, and this is something that we discovered when we were doing the Kentorettes, is we found out that, especially with the oversized cosplays, we did this with the dragons, it wound up as well, is that if you can find the real version of that to take measurements from,
Oh yeah,
and then
that's
scale those measurements, what you wind up with is a much better representation of the real thing. So for instance, when we were doing the Kentorettes, we're like, well, we want the horse proportions to wind up looking a lot like a real horse. Well, Bryn had a toy of the horse from Mulan.
No, it's Prince Charming's horse.
It's Prince Charming's horse.
Prince Charming's horse.
Sorry.
We used Prince Charming's horse's butt as the model for the Kentorette butt. Yeah.
So we're like, okay, so the distance from the top of the leg down to the bottom of the hoof,
which probably has a proper name like Withers or something, but I don't know.
Whatever. But that distance, this on the horse, and it's actually this on, say, Bryn. So it's like, so you figure out, okay, so if you divide one by the other, it's like, okay, so you're multiplying by, 2.3 or whatever like that. And then for all the other dimensions that you have to create, you use that same kind of multiplier and base everything else on that. So it's like, okay, well, if that distance is that times this on me, then the distance from, the center of the back legs to the center of the front legs on the horse, it's this, I'll multiply it by that same value, and that's what I'll use. And so all of the dimensions are scaled based on that one memeasurement, and you wind up with
it does look proportionately better if you spend a little time doing math. Sorry.
Yeah. Because we've seen some really outstanding Kentars and Kentorettes, and then we've seen some that haunt my dreams.
Okay, that's enough.
What would be the best cosplay you've ever seen?
Oh
Not
my god,
yours.
In person, it would probably be at any of the competitions.
Yeah.
There's just,
some of the ones that Jun has done.
Jew, oh yeah.
Or Jew.
Yeah, Jose, his are amazing.
We have one particular friend who he's done some really astonishing
He's a makeup
work.
Artist.
Yeah.
And he does amazing things, and he also does he has friends that do the overlays and stuff, and gosh, in person, boy, that's a tough one, because we have so many talented, really, really talented friends that just do some really, really, really amazing things, and that's a hard one, man.
You're doing right.
I have to prepare that one.
One of my favorite things about doing this and about seeing other people's cosplays is that you can have, not only can you have kind of like a best cosplay, but you can have a best cosplay on so many axes.
Yeah.
And also, I'll be honest, somebody that shows up at a con and they're wearing their favorite character, and it's like their first time at a convention, and it's their first costume they've put together, I enjoy that as much as some of the stuff I see in the competitions. And so I have the whole idea of a best cosplay. It's kind of, or the best one I've seen. It's hard, because I see a Coraline at any convention and I'm thrilled, and Coraline's not the hardest cosplay to put together, but I love seeing it. So, but I just, and I love some of the, like the first ones they've put together, or it's something they've put together. And it's like, well, I'm not really good at it yet. And it's like, yeah, but you love it and you feel good in it. And it's like, and I enjoy that so much.
And the next one will be better and be better and be better. Yeah.
So
you like the progression of it, right?
Yeah, I do. I do like the progression. I like the variety, the difference, and just,
Yeah. But you
Yeah.
can have like incredible gown making,
Yeah.
and then you can have somebody that's putting together something that is
Yeah.
100% historically accurate down to the buttons and the,
Yeah.
you know, and the fasteners and
Or some of
the
the
other
foam work
fasteners.
and
then you'll have like these incredible armor builds, or, you know, people that
or the
are
makeup artists.
doing, the makeup artists, people that
Yeah.
are doing, you know, CG work to 3D print, you know, all, you know, 170 components to assemble, you know, a screen accurate version of,
Yeah.
you know, some weapon or piece of armor or prop or,
Yeah.
Take hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
just,
I love the mask and sweater.
oh yeah, oh, that
So-
it's some of the inventiveness, like when people will do a spin on something where it's like it's very true to it, but it's like, but like what you're wearing right now is so fun for me because I love the spider characters so much, and so that's just now I'm creating backstory. Where he just has the mask
Enough with the choir concert.
and the sweater.
He has to get to.
Well, it's his first time doing a solo on stage.
Right.
So.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Trayvon really wants Miles to be there.
Okay.
So it's important to him. They're
All
good
right,
friends.
okay.
Yeah, it's important.
That's it. That's good.
Dream
That's good.
cosplay. If you had any amount of money, any amount of time, what would be your dream?
Doctor Strange.
Yeah. Boy. Right now, probably Belle and Beast, but I think I'll make it happen. Yeah, I think I'll make that happen. Yeah, not break the bank doing it because I'm, you know, basically don't like to spend a whole ton of coins. So some of our more expensive, the dragons were one of our more expensive cosplays, and you know what cost the money? It was the paint.
Yeah.
Really?
The paint, right? I'm like, wow, I didn't see that.
Out of all things, that's what did it, the
The
paint?
whole thing was the paint because we needed so much of it because they're so big,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah. So I'm going from Michael's to Michael's to Michael's
Trying to find all the
craft
paint we need.
stores, just
They don't all carry the same colors either.
buying them out
But
of
yeah, so
whatever they have, colors that we need. And then I start talking to the managers that are doing the ordering so that I can find out, okay,
Yeah.
well, this one's going to
So,
be getting
back to Dream
that
Cosplays.
green.
Our search for paint. Back to Dream Cosplays. Yeah, I think right now it's probably Belle and Beast because it's, you know, kind of out there as far as Beast goes. Belle's not too bad, but yeah, probably that. It would be awesome to actually do Dragon Prince because I wanted to make a walking, flying Zim. But we'll see. We'll see if that happens next year or not.
Instead of walking and flying?
Yeah, so the idea was we were thinking of a camera mount, like, you know, a film camera mount
Uh-huh.
that you have him on like magnetic strips for the walking that like are connected to your feet, like, you know, the puppeteers that are puppeting like the larger kind of puppets, not quite like the Lion King ones. Gosh, there's not a lot that I've seen because I've looked for instructions and how-tos and have not been very successful. But and the idea would be he would his feet would stick to like the magnetic strips and he'd be able to walk on the ground, and then you would be able to release the magnets to lift him up on the film camera, and then have his wings on like umbrella, like an umbrella opener kind of a thing, to get him up on like the film camera mount, and then he would be, you know, you could, you know, spin him around and make him fly and stuff.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I can't wait.
if I recall
wouldn't
correctly,
it be cool? It'd be cool.
it's something called like a fly rig.
Yeah,
So
that
the
might be
idea
it.
the idea is it's like the crisscross kind of scissor lift kind of
Okay,
thing.
yeah.
And so the idea is that if you're filming, you mount the camera to this platform, so the camera sits on top of this platform, and then because you have the crisscross scissor lift, it's spring aided, so you could bring the camera all the way down. So like if you were going to do a shot that like was down at foot level and then was coming up to face level and then wanted to go up above, you could get that shot by mounting the camera on this and then taking it from down at foot level up to, you know, up to face level and then
Yeah.
taking it up a few feet overhead. And that's what it's designed for. But we're like, what if instead of a camera, it was a baby dragon?
Exactly.
Yes.
Bryn wanted to do Rayla from that same series, and Ken would have done Lord Baron. And then for
He's
a puppet,
evil.
he is, for a puppet like that, though, I would just probably be just a puppeteer, not an actual like cosplayer, but they would be cosplaying.
There we go.
So that was kind of a dream sort of a thing.
Yeah.
So it may still happen. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. Depends
All right, with
on if
COVID going
Rayla
on,
or not.
What's
that?
you to still cosplay? I said with COVID going on, what still inspires you to cosplay?
Well, you know, I had almost all of our WonderCon stuff done when everything started shutting down. It's still not done. I stopped working on all of our WonderCon stuff. It is all just, it's hanging behind me. It's put away. I stopped working on that. And I actually didn't work on anything for 2 months? Yeah, and then I was like, well, I think I'll just start working on this Clea that I've been kind of idly thinking about, and that would be kind of cool. And so I put together this whole Clea Strange costume, and for with stuff I'd already had before the shutdown, and that was kind of fun, and I was kind of working slowly on it, and then...
Well, and then I wound up being pretty fortunate because...
Then we did the San Diego at home costume competition, which was fun. We did the Strange and...
at home.
Yeah, they did a... It was pretty cool. You know, they put everything up on Tumblr. And so there were like photos and there were like videos, and it was fun. It was... the Tumblr took a really long time to download, so I was trying to look through all the other competitors because there was so much good stuff, and it was really hard to watch it because I don't know if it was our connection every single day that I tried logging on. I think it was actually Tumblr that was just taking forever. And then a friend of ours actually did a costume competition for the Crunchyroll Expo for CRX, and that was super well done.
Yeah.
They did like videos, and they had like a virtual green room, and they had like little interviews with everybody before, and they ran it, all the videos that people had sent in, they ran it at a specific time during the expo, and it was really cool. It was really fun to watch.
Yeah.
I don't know how I missed that.
It was neat. And then, but after I finished the Clea and Strange, I was kind of like, okay, yeah, I think it would be really fun to do. What was the first one?
Was it Witcher?
It was Jack and Sally.
Oh.
I was like, oh, I've always kind of wanted to do this Hannah Alexander Jack and Sally, and we don't have any competitions that we're doing, and we don't have any cons coming up, so I guess I'll work on this. And so then I worked on that, and then after that I was like, hey, let's do Witcher. Which again, not something we would have ever done, I don't think. And then it was what about Beauty and the Beast? You know, specifically the great list of art.
Rabbit hole.
And then this Jack and Sally's that we did today, that was just kind of let's do that for our family photo for Christmas. That would be great. So, you know, just and there are weeks where I don't get anything done. Nothing at all. And then there are like the week of the elections and stuff. I don't think I got much of anything done at all.
I think a lot of people
it was
got
just too depressing.
A lot of nothing done.
It was like, it's just, it's sad when everybody's so mad at each other, you know. It's just it's
Here's what I accomplished: doom scrolling.
So, you know, some days, like, you know, I'm like, oh yeah, I want to work on this one, and then some days I'm like, I don't think I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna go read this book I've read 5 times before. You know, because I know how this ends and it's comfortable, kind of a thing. So yeah.
All right, so when you look back from where you started to where you're now, what are you most proud of? And specifically, the first picture you have on Instagram, the picture you have now, and I've provided that. I just sent that to you, your first picture.
Oh, okay.
You last took. What are you most proud of, like, from where you started to where you are now?
Oh, that's Koga. Is that really the first one that's on my Instagram?
Yep, that's your first one that's on your Instagram.
Oh, I
and
love
another
this
one is
photo.
your latest.
Oh. So unfortunately, this first photo is of one of my favorite dogs on the planet ever. So I love this photo.
And he's no longer with us. So.
Yeah, he's no longer with us.
Yeah.
I love this photo.
He had a good run, but he got old.
Yeah. You know, here's the irony. Do you want the utter irony? These two photos are taken in the same place.
Yeah.
That is so crazy.
Full circle.
Boy, full circle.
Wow.
That's impressive.
That is impressive. And these are the only two photo shoots we've done there. Wow, that's something.
Well done, you.
Yeah, that's something. Oh, look at him. Oh, I love this dog so much. So Ken took this first photo. I still really love it though. You know, it was kind of our take on Little Red Riding Hood. And then of course I love the second one because that, you know, it's Ken and I in the Witcher outfits.
Which was an entirely quarantine era, COVID era project.
Yeah, except for the tunic, which I cut down from something I found in a tub in the garage.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, and actually the Witcher ones, even though Bryn's not in these photos, she's the one that picked them. She just decided, I got all the supplies and materials, and then she decided she didn't want to cosplay anymore. So I never made her Siri, but I had everything to make Siri too. Yeah. So, you know, honestly, I'd say my sewing skills are a hell of a lot better than they were. And his sewing skills now exist, and they didn't then.
They did not exist before.
Yeah. And definitely the fabrication skills have improved. But, you know, I'll be honest, I love both these photos. That is so funny. They're in the same place. Yeah, this is actually from where we are on the bridge. You can just about see this point on the path.
Where the first photo was taken.
The first photo is taken. Yeah, that's just hilarious. That is too funny.
I am just about pointing towards where the first
standing.
photo was taken.
Yeah.
In the bridge photo.
Yeah, he's essentially like, look at that Red Riding Hood over there. Wolf,
right.
I can take that. She just has a stick. Backstory.
He's a beast hunter, and that's one beast looking critter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That wolf's kind of scary too.
Oh, nicely played. Well played.
Oh, that is just too funny.
Wonderfully played.
Wow.
Hey, you've been great, guests. We're gonna wrap it up now.
Okay.
Yeah,
sorry to talk about.
Like on. I think it's what time do we start? Like 5?
Oh.
Like.
Oh, geez.
Almost
We've been
7? You've been lovely, guests.
You can cut.
Yeah, I'm glad we're finally able to hook up.
New projects that are coming up before we go.
So so I have the company that I work at. I don't actually earn vacation. We have what's called, quote, unlimited vacation, which means if you leave the company or your work is winding down, and my work is winding down, you don't get vacation when you leave. So I'm like, you know, I'm going to take a couple weeks because I can. And I'm going to try and get Belle and Beast finished, actually, by the end of the year, beginning of next. So that's what I'm working on right now, is the Greg Lesniak Belle and Beast. I don't think I have any. Oh, wait, I do have a small photo.
Okay.
This doesn't have the entire picture, but I'm trying to get it without the glare is terrible.
Wonderful. From what I can see, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, Belle's pretty easy. I mean, it's just a ball gown. But
you can see the way that he dwarfs her in that image.
Yeah.
So we are literally trying to do this to scale.
Yeah.
Nice. He looks magnificent, man.
He will probably be a little smaller, but not much, hopefully. So yeah, that's the current project. And then we're still decorating the house for Christmas. So I have this here.
Yeah, I figure that's going to be a huge project for you guys.
Yeah. So, anyways, but
And-
so that's pretty much that's about it. And then after that, I don't know.
By way of shameless plug, there's a
Go
an
for it.
outfit that we've done work with a couple of times called Make Cancer Less Scary. So
Yes.
we originally met up with them when we did the Oz crew
Yeah.
for the masquerade. They actually we wound up working a gala that they did as guests, and people could get photographs
Yeah.
with us and such. But they actually reached out to us during.
Well, the campaign's already over, but it'll be
Right.
like next year.
Right. So, but they actually reached out to us during COVID era, and we supplied them with some photographs, and they kind of did a virtual version of the fundraiser that they did.
Yeah.
So, if you just go out and Google "Make Cancer Less Scary," they focus on working with young people.
They're affiliated
are-
with the UCLA Cancer Research.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And
So-
they work with.
They're a pretty neat bunch.
Yeah, they work with young people that are diagnosed with cancer and trying to make cancer
So that
less
was
scary.
that was one of our other projects that we just kind of finished up. We were trying to get other folks interested.
Yeah.
But yeah, they'll
Good
do a
together.
campaign.
That is a good organization.
Look
be working
next
with.
year.
Yeah. So, anyways, I think that's
Yeah.
as far as projects go, aside from decorating the house and Belle and Beast and work.
Yeah, and I mean, for
Maybe
gosh,
having to find a new
for
job.
gosh sakes, not to be too grim, but
We're not going to go there.
okay.
So,
Everyone, stay safe.
It was wonderful having you. I'm glad to finally have you on here. And you have
Thank you
yourself a great
Bye.
night.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.
Yeah.
Bye.
Okay,
And-
stop.
Okay.
And